From SF Land, this is Dorking Out, a podcast for people who love to dork out about movies, TV, and everything pop culture.
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Sexual harassment is about power. When did Michael Douglas have the power?
He didn't. He never does.
Not 1 second. Not 1 second.
There's more. It's not just me and Margo. Joining us is our podcasting brother from another mother, Adam Riske from F This Movie. Hello, friend.
Hi. I don't know a software from a cashmere sweater.
I've seen more ass than a rental car.
I get my CD-ROMs from Asia.
But do you have nipples like pencil erasers?
I do. Who told? Who told?
Hey, hold on. Before we go any further, after this is over, I want you to call me with the details. Has anybody, ever not been a creep who's asked for, call me when it's over, because I need the details?
That's a total creep move. Yeah. By the way, Adam, you're in my phone as a friend.
Oh. Poor guy.
I'm going to change that. I'm going to change it to do the same thing.
So if you guys can't tell, we are dorking out about 1994's Disclosure. Everyone knows Disclosure. We are doing like a 90s in November, and this is our first pick, and Adam was kind enough to agree to come on and talk about it with us. You know, this movie's 25 years old, you guys.
Oh, my God.
Isn't that crazy? Because it feels like it's 65.
Exactly.
I wish I could just for a day go back to 1994 in a time machine and see what offices were like back then, because I was 12. It couldn't have been like this, right? Like, this is an exaggeration.
It's a pretty big exaggeration. I mean, I wasn't in Seattle then. I was in college. But pretty soon after, I moved to New York and I worked in offices. And there's a little bit of truth there. But we'll get into it.
Yeah,
we'll get into it.
It's an exaggerated truth.
Yeah, it's Hollywood truth.
I was working at the movie theater at the time, and it was totally like this. So gross.
You're just necking each other on the butt with file folders.
Mm-hmm. With popcorn cups.
Like it.
Actually, it really is just a bunch of young people that are all fucking each other. So in that way, it is really true. But I don't know how much harassment was going on. It was all pretty willing. Everyone was pretty game.
So the merger meant something different.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I was taking a sip of my beer because this is happy hour. For people who don't know, Disclosure stars Michael Douglas, Demi Moore, Dylan Baker, Donald Sutherland, and Dennis Miller. Dennis Miller, you guys. And it's based on the book by Michael Crichton. Margo, did you read the book?
I did read the book, you guys. So I'm prepared to talk about the differences between book and movie.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe this. It's written by Paul Atanasio. Is that how you pronounce it? You know I
Sure.
suck at names. Let's say I'm right. But he wrote things like Johnny Brasco and Quiz Show. He was
Johnny Brasco.
What did I say?
Johnny.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous. Well, that's the sequel. That's weird. I've had one sip of beer, you guys. But he also was the creator of one of my all-time favorite TV shows, Homicide: Life on the Street. And this movie was directed by Barry Levinson. I just didn't remember any of that when this movie started. I was like, what?
Well, at the time, Michael Crichton movies were doing really well. So they kind of just stuck to the material. They didn't really futz with it too much. And so they just kind of took basically what's in the book and they put it in the movie. Not everything, but quite a bit of it. And Michael Crichton was a very odd person. He was 6'9", by the way.
What? That's super
he
tall.
Was gigantic and extremely shy. So you try being really shy person and being 6'9" and see how that works for you. So I think that was part of his problem with dealing with other people. But he went to med school. He was extremely intelligent. He like graduated high school early, all this stuff. But I will tell you this because we've talked about him a few times on Book versus Movie, my other podcast. He has a lot of problems with women. He doesn't write really great characters for women. And his dialogue for people in general is pretty shitty.
I would have never guessed that from this movie.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Does
Anyway.
the book make more sense plot-wise than the movie's plot?
No. The movie, it doesn't at all. I mean, because I was hoping the movie would clear things up for me. It's the same thing. Like he's really great at writing a plot. And then you get kind of like caught up in the details of like how the person gets out of the situation that they're in. But then later on, you're like, well, how is this all supposed to work? I mean, we should say like it's based on Michael Douglas's character is we're supposed to think like a middle manager kind of guy. Like he's kind of up there as a VP, but not that high. And he's a super nice guy and he's married with kids. But in his past, he was a bit of a Lothario. And so his company is being merged with another company and they happen to find his old girlfriend and bring her in. And do they want her to take his job? And then why? Because Meredith, who's played by Demi Moore in the movie, is clearly, I mean, she's beautiful and she's a good talker, but she doesn't know what she's talking about. Like, why not just stick with the person that did their job originally? There's a lot of things like that that don't make sense.
Yeah, I had a lot of trouble kind of zoning in on motivations of certain characters.
Yeah.
And also, to your point, I couldn't place if Demi Moore's character was in the organization already or hired from the outside. But at first I thought, oh, she was like this outside hire. She was kind of a known quantity in this industry, which happens in technology. I get that. But then, like, why is she going to Malaysia and changing production line stuff if she doesn't work for them yet? It was really weird.
Well, this is a thing. I've had this problem talking when I've been on F This Movie a few times with Patrick. And I've said to him, like, this is a thing that drives me crazy, is that Hollywood people just don't know how offices work and how businesses work.
Yeah.
They just don't get it. So when a movie like Office Space does really well and they're all kind of scratching their heads like, well, how come this, resonated with people? I'm like, because it's true. Like that's why you can relate to it. Like we're all approaching it as people with regular jobs. Like that we've all had crazy jobs. I think we've all had crazy jobs and crazy bosses.
Oh yeah.
And just dysfunctional and stuff like that. But this is a company that's supposed to be, first of all, CD-ROMs. I mean, how many times did you crack up when they were talking about CD-ROMs?
It's the future. It's the future.
Yeah, it's pretty great that they need a virtual reality interface to find Word docs.
Yeah. I mean, it's they invented Dropbox.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what they invented. And that requires people to be on a trampoline and put on gloves. Yes. And I mean, because that's what we all want to do.
Yeah,
Such a weird movie. So I assumed that she worked for a different department but for the same company. That's what I assumed. And that they were but she sucked at her job. And so her whole thing was, this is me trying to figure out the plot, was that they moved her over and she was trying to like cover for the fact that she sucks at her job by getting together with Michael Douglas and trying to like make him her fall guy. But I don't know why she felt the need to like sexually harass him to make that happen.
That makes a lot more sense than what I was getting from the movie. So I'm glad that you took that away because it totally makes more sense to me than the fact that it seems like Donald Sutherland as the CEO of this company is like playing these weird games with his own business, at the time of the merger. Like it almost like he conspires with Demi Moore to make Michael Douglas the fall guy, but has no interest in solving the problem that's affecting his business. And why can't he just fire a guy who's a middle manager for manufacturing?
Right.
Yeah.
I got nothing. I don't get it.
Yeah.
No, it's just Michael Crichton wanting to take a shitty take, excuse me,
Yeah.
on a cultural issue, and that sexual harassment, because the Anita Hill stuff was just starting to come to the fore. Like, it was some people were talking about it. So Michael Crichton being Michael Crichton, he's like, well, I could talk about it and make an intelligent woman deal with a horrible thing, or I could just make her the asshole because I don't understand women, and I'll make the guy the victim. And won't that just turn everybody on their heads? And it did. It did. But it's like, we didn't figure out this thing then. We barely are figuring it out now.
Right.
But
I was trying to figure out, was he trying to do, like, here's what sexual harassment is like, and he wants men to understand what it's like, therefore...
No.
Okay.
No.
I was giving him too much credit.
No, he was an early climate change denier before it was cool.
Sweet.
And he wrote Rising Sun, which is a book about business, and it was dealing with Japanese people. Like, there was a big fear in the 80s that Japan was going to, like, bomb America again and take over. And he's written a few shitty things. He's had a few very shitty takes on things. People don't like to talk about that, but
Did he write Gung Ho too? Because isn't that what that's about?
That's actually a really good movie, and I would talk about it anytime. I love Gung Ho.
I love that Donald Sutherland gets up in front of like his entire company and just says, "I wanted to promote a woman, so meh, here."
Since my daughter died, anyway.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
So
Like,
anyway,
wait,
I
what?
decided to promote a chick. You know, chicks, man. It's so weird.
Donald Sutherland is insane. And at the end of the movie, and at the end of the movie, no, like, why would anybody want to work at this company, especially people who knew what happened that week?
I don't know.
Like, put yourself in Michael Douglas's shoes. How could you trust anyone at this organization?
No. I would have left when they hired Dennis Miller.
Oh, absolutely. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And then who's Don Cherry? Because Adam and I have talked about this actor before.
He was in Sometimes They Come Back.
And he was also in the Al Pacino movie.
Sensible Woman.
Thank you. He's one of Trent Charlie, or the other one that he says, fuck you too. But he's also that kid in the Cosby Show that sells Vanessa the tickets. Like, he takes her tickets away from her. She's going to the concert.
The Wretched.
Yes, The Wretched.
Yeah. He's also in the movie Mobsters, and it's one of the best bad performances I've ever seen. It's so entertaining.
Oh, that's a very entertaining movie too.
He's also in Johnny Brasco.
Johnny.
The movie I made up.
Mhm. I had a dream a few weeks ago, and in it, I was commissioned to write a biography for a famous actor, and I never figured out who the actor was in the dream. But I remember there was an actor who had died, so his estate was asking me to do this, and they said, "We want you to write the real story, but you need to change his name." And I was like, "Well, that kind of defeats the purpose. All right, what name do you want it to be?" And they said, "Jimmy Sleepy."
I would read that.
Yeah, so Johnny Brasco, Jimmy Sleepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get to work, Adam.
Yeah, I will.
Screenplay waiting for it to happen.
Yeah. Do you think that Demi Moore's character, and I feel bad saying this because it's the lead female character of the movie, but they don't give her anything sympathetic at all. They really stack the deck against her.
She's a total asshole. Like, from the time we meet her, she's just a viper.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to, like, understand, like, she's going to mess up Tom's, is that his name? Yeah, Tom's perfect life. And so Tom lives in Seattle, right outside of Seattle. He has, like, this $1 million house. He and his wife are talking about how rich they are just before he leaves for work.
Yeah. He has two beautiful kids and an amazing mullet.
Mullet. And he has that old E that used to, like, you get the Internet Explorer. And he gets, like, that one email in the morning that his daughter sees. And this is back in '94. Absolutely, I buy that. But it's established that he's nice. He's really nice to the people that work for him, and that he kisses their ass, so that we're supposed to understand later that that comes in handy. But he's a super nice guy. He's like 50 years old, and he's going to work. And there's a guy on the ferry who's always trying to find work and can never, he's been out of a job for a while. And he's kind of warning him, like, women are taking over all the jobs and blah, blah, blah. And it's just sort of set up right away.
Mm-hmm.
Women are taking things from men.
Yeah.
That's what it's set up.
Adam, do you feel like we're taking things from you?
Not even a little bit, no. If anything, I'm taking things away from myself. So, okay, I got another question, because the motivation thing, like, I need you two to help me with this. Like, Demi Moore seducing him, and then, like, say he went through with it, is then that, like, okay, I'm using this for blackmail later? Was she really just wanting to sleep with him again? Like, was it all a part of a conspiracy to turn him into the fall guy? Like, I never understood any of that.
She seemed committed to sleeping with him. And they had a relationship before, and we're told right before that he's had, basically before he got married and had kids, he had a wild sex life. She's 18 years younger than him, by the way, you guys.
Yeah.
And it looks like it.
Also,
I mean, it's just
why do all his coworkers know that he was like, that he had this active
he's a
sex
coxman?
life? I guess
Yeah.
so.
You don't know
I don't
that
know.
about your boss, that he's just a big slut?
I don't want to know that about my boss.
Right. Yeah. No, it's very strange. And in the book, I have to say, because it's the one thing I remember about the book, like, that always stuck with me, was that when they're having that interlude in the office, and it starts with him, by the way, her giving him oral sex that he's totally okay with. And that is sex for me anyway. But he's totally okay with that. And then they're going to go and have sex. And in the book, he says to his eventual attorney, why did you change your mind? And he said, well, at one point she turned her head and coughed. And that just really turned me off. And that made me realize she wasn't into it. I'm like, what?
I was worried about catching a cold.
Sex?
I was worried about catching a cold. Forget it.
Like, to him, that was like, oh, she wasn't into me. I'm like, wait, what? We're not allowed to cough? Like, what? Like,
No.
It's just ridiculous.
She kept breathing and moving. Totally ruins it for me.
Yeah. That's even weirder than the movie. I read in some of the stuff in Wikipedia that they somehow found a way in the movie to kind of dial back the misogyny and sexist nature of the book, which was impressive.
Yeah.
I'm like, and this is dialed back.
It's slightly dialed back. Like, it goes from 10 to like 9.5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That sex scene is very not sexy, but also just super weird, because it starts with her like kind of forcing herself, then he's kind of into it, and then he's not into it and he runs off.
And it's in this office that's in construction, so it's not like the walls are all, covered and sealed up. I mean, there are people in the building still, and at this time, and as it is now, somebody would be working there after hours. Like, people work long hours in tech.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's in the building.
True. I work in tech. There's always someone there, and I'm always
someone there.
I always want to sexually harass people.
Don't you ask for shoulder rubs all the time?
All the
That's totally
time.
appropriate.
All the time.
Yeah. That whole scene was just super, super weird. But my favorite thing, though, was, okay, so they used that scene to establish how, I guess, racy their relationship was in the past. And then in the deposition, the lawyer is itemizing sort of all the kinkiness of like their relationship and everything. And it leads to my favorite line of the movie, where so the lawyer is saying, like, it includes like pornographic videotapes, et cetera, and then he's like, is that how you would characterize your relationship? And then Michael Douglas goes, well, sometimes we sat on the couch and watched TV.
most of it, yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I don't know, but it's kind of amazing because this whole movie takes place in the course of a week. Lots of stuff happening in that week.
That's one nutty office.
Yeah. Apparently, everybody had their calendars wide open that week.
I was just going to say, maybe it was on the calendar. She was like sexually harassed Tom. It was like booked out 7 to 9 p.m.
Yeah. And I
7
love
to
how
10 a.m. tomorrow. Get the lawyers in.
Yeah, and maybe this is a 90s thing, but like nobody's suspended from work until this is settled. Nothing like that.
No.
Well, and they instantly believe her, which doesn't happen. That doesn't happen now. Like, he's like, that didn't happen. And they're like, well, she says it did. So very progressive office in some ways.
Especially because she's an outsider. Like, she's somebody that nobody knows and everybody knows him. And he's already been established that everybody likes him, especially the underlings. You know, the people that he's always really super nice, except for so there's one Asian girl that works at the office and he slaps the folder on her ass and shit like that. But mostly he's pretty respectful of everybody.
Yeah.
So
that was embarrassing though, because then so he and they have one beat way too many where he's doing that to her. He slaps her on the butt with the file folder. She is a witness in the deposition. It's the first time he hears about how uncomfortable that makes her. And then he apologizes in the office. And it's kind of this, I don't know. I mean, like, it's a horrible situation, but like, it's a nice moment where he's not like saying, oh, I'm sorry that I made you feel that way. Like, he's genuinely sorry. Like, it's not just that he got in trouble for it. But then like she slaps him on the butt. Like, now we're all boys now. Yeah. It's like, it's
very strange.
Yeah.
Sexual harassment's hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just a game of gotcha. But I don't know. I have an affinity for movies like this where it's all dressed up to be the important fancy movie that your mom and dad like booked the babysitter for to go out. They went out on a double date. They had Italian. Then they go to see the classy Disclosure movie, and then it's like the most shameless, like just derivative hokum that you could possibly watch. Like, I love movies like this so much.
I have to say we're shitting all over it, but we're not, because I'll say this to you guys. I loved it. I rented it twice this week. And that's more than I've seen American Hustle. Like, and I really think that's a great movie, but I have no interest in seeing it. And the other night I was bored. I'm like, I'm going to watch this again. I'm going to watch Disclosure again. And I even loved it even more like the third time I've seen it in the last 2 weeks.
There were so many of these movies in the 90s. They're strangely comforting to me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Warner Brothers. It's like they had an industry of just making star vehicle dramas for like 6-7 years. It was from like the late 80s to the mid 90s. And I so wish that was still a thing, but they made so many great just like cable watches during that time. And this is totally one of them.
Absolute Basic Instinct is, what do you think of Basic Instinct? Do you think that's one of these, or do you think that's a little higher than Disclosure?
I don't know. I have a weird relationship with Basic Instinct because that came out when I was 10 and I learned a lot about sex because of that movie.
Oh, so, no.
Like, yeah. So, like, I had to kind of, like, unlearn what I learned. I remember, like, when I was 10 and, like, Basic Instinct was on cable and I would sneak off to, like, watch Basic Instinct, I would be like, I'd be like, oh, man, she does this all the time, and this means so much to him. This is funny.
But there were all these movies, so it was like Single White Female. We were all texting about this earlier, like Sleeping with the Enemy, Sliver. They made these kind of movies, all Pacific Heights.
Yep.
Final Analysis.
La Femme Nikita.
Yeah.
Nikita, the one with Bridget Fonda. I love that movie.
Yeah, they made stuff like this all the time. Now,
For women.
Yeah.
It's the airport novel movie. It's the,
Yes!
the trashy paperback movie. Yeah.
That's a great way to describe it.
Yeah.
You're so smart.
Thank you. You are too.
Sometimes.
I think that okay, I got a question for you. So this was directed by Barry Levinson.
Mhm.
Is he the most 90s director?
Yeah.
It's either him or Wolfgang Peterson.
It's up there for book versus movie. We're doing next week. We're going to do Sleepers, and that's a Barry Levinson movie, and it's like Brad Pitt and Al Pacino. No, it's Robert De Niro, Dustin Hoffman, Minnie Driver, Ron Eldard, however you say his name, Jason Patrick. And just looking at it and the feeling, like, oh my God, is this the most 1996 movie ever made? Like, if you just, it's totally, because he did a whole thing of Baltimore movies for a while. And then I guess he did his trilogy and then he just started doing anything. I don't know. It's a very weird choice. It's a well-directed movie, by the way. It's just that story-wise, it doesn't make any sense. Like, everyone's acting really well and it looks great, but if at the end of the day, I can't figure out who the real villain is and why the hell Michael Douglas would still want to work there, except I would just think, well, he's 50 and maybe it's hard to get another job.
I guess so. I understand that in the context of the movie, and maybe it's just kind of how things are now, but I work at a technology company too, and people, especially at the middle management, VP level, they move around from company to company all the time. So,
right.
It seems a little odd that he would stick around unless to just kind of use it as a victory lap. I worked so hard for this, I'd rather this place burn to the ground than leave.
Right.
Well, it's going to be $100 million deal, you guys.
Yeah.
That also made me, I know, that was like a lot of money back then.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
I think
of money
it's really
to
funny.
Me. Me too. I wouldn't turn it down, but it's just very funny that that's the number they focus on.
The CD-ROM game, yo.
Yeah. Well, so the other thing, he never really proves there was no sexual harassment.
No,
right?
And can we talk about the wife for a second? His wife. Good God. What the fuck is going on with this woman? She's married to him. She is a lawyer-ish. She is a lawyer, but she only works part-time.
Lawyer-ish.
But, she goes to all the meetings with him. She's super smart in that she's like, hey, what do you mean she harassed you? Well, I got to be in there with you because the optics matter, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then she's such a sap. She just falls. When he talks about, there's oral sex that happens, and he's totally willing participant with that. And she doesn't seem to have a problem with that for a second. And there's a whole thing where they go out to dinner, and it's with Dennis Miller and his wife, who was on Wings. I remember her, Farrah Fork. Is that her name?
I love that you're she was on Wings.
I loved Wings. Oh my God, I was obsessed with Wings. Okay, so, but anyway, so they go out to dinner.
I know what I'm having for dinner now.
You're going to eat it with a fork? So she says, the wife says, hey, I don't know what you're talking, because Dennis Miller's being a total dick. You're ruining my stock today, and blah, 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 blah. He says, know what? Great friend at dinner, by the way, with the wives. And Michael Douglas's wife just says, you know what? He already told me everything that happened. We're not going to discuss it anymore, which is a super cool thing to say when you don't know.
Yeah, that's a husband and wife that work as a team right there. She's like, I'm going to back you up in public. And then they get home and she's like, what the fuck?
Well, they're waiting for the train and she's saying, what the fuck is, well, I put my penis in her mouth, but that doesn't mean anything. She was really attacking me. And his wife very rightly is like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
and
there's
a
lot
answer.
of stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff with her character it's a shame because he's lying by omission a lot of times.
Yeah.
And then she finds out things later, she'll be sitting in the deposition and more details come out than he told her. And there's, after a while, it's just, shenanigans at the office, and she's just not even around anymore. And it's
Right.
just implied that she just, stand by your man. And it's a little bit demeaning to that character.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what happens when he meets Demi Moore at the office after hours, and she says, "Hey, sit next to me." He sits next to her. And by the way, Demi Moore looks great in this movie.
Oh my gosh,
And
she's so
just like
beautiful.
had a baby too. Yeah, she looks
Yeah.
beautiful. But she sits next. He goes, "Oh, take out your wallet and you show the pictures," which is what people used to do back then for all you millennials.
Yeah,
Um,
before phones.
But she says, "Oh," Demi Moore looks at her picture of his wife and says, "I bet she's a good cook. She eats a lot." And then he says, "Well, she never really lost the weight from the baby." What?
Asshole.
Yeah, she's kidding.
What? The fuck?
What a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a huge fat ass. My wife's a huge fat ass, you guys.
Yeah, I had to settle, but she's really nice. What?
Yeah.
She's
What
an
did you-
angel. You don't deserve her.
Yeah. What did you think of Michael Douglas's lawyer? I thought that might be. It's such a TNT we know drama performance,
Yeah.
but
Rizzoli and Riles.
Yeah, I
whatever.
was thinking
Yeah.
the same thing. I'm like, she's the closer.
But I really
She's like
liked
Holly
it.
Hunter.
I found it insanely watchable. Like just
I love her. I think she's the standout performance. I think
Yeah.
she and her hair, and her 90s suits are fantastic. And I think she delivers these lines like sexual harassment is about power. And it's a very showy kind of scene, but
Mhm.
she really owns it. Like you believe her. You want her to be your lawyer.
Yeah.
You
I love
totally
how-
buy it.
Yeah, I love how she has the speech about sexual harassment isn't about sex, it's about power. And then like 10 minutes later, Douglas delivers it like it's his own idea.
Which is such a dude thing to do.
Which is such a guy thing to do. Yeah.
No
Sonia
offense,
and I have
Adam. We're
talked
not
about
talking
this.
about you, but
No, it's fine. It's just like, I just heard this on Joe Rogan, you guys. And did you know
You
that
know what
Doug-
Adam Carolla thinks? He says.
Yeah. I don't know, but I really liked her. I'm such a sucker too for anything involving like courtrooms and lawyers and
Yeah, same
in
here.
movies, especially 90s movies. I have on my Netflix queue the Pelican Brief all ready to go, and I have never seen it, so I'm very excited.
oh, you're gonna love it.
Yeah. Good times.
It's such a Christmas time movie, like this,
Is it?
just like Disclosure. No,
Oh, okay.
no, it
I see what
isn't.
you're saying.
It's very 90s.
Yeah.
It is absolutely 90s. It's got that amazing Julia Roberts hair.
Mm.
And Dylan Baker is great as the villain here.
Oh my god!
but I
he's
don't know what
always
his
such
job
a,
is.
He's
What's
always
his
such
job?
a creep. It's just
Yes.
being the office creep, right?
He's
That's
just
his
a
job.
creep.
What's his job? Is he like HR or a lawyer or what?
I couldn't figure that out either. Like, what the hell does he have to do with this entire company? Because he's
Or, like-
totally okay with Demi Moore sexually harassing a guy and then losing that. And it cost them $100,000, which is like $300,000 today's dollars, right? It's a lot of money. And he was totally like hanging out with her like she's on the Stairmaster
Yeah.
at work. They don't have it in her hotel or whatever where she is.
His job title is like plot device or something. That's
Yes.
his title. Like that's his
But he's
thing.
always great.
I love Dylan Baker. He's always awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, he elevates very pedestrian characters in writing with his smarminess.
Yes.
That scene where she's on the Stairmasters, this isn't my original thought, but I was reading in Roger Ebert's review about how like Michael Douglas's problems are solved because he has two conversations, one that he overheard and then one that he recorded so somebody else could overhear it. I thought it was really funny in the Stairmaster scene. Like it's open windows, like you can hear each other like outside of the exercise room or whatever office she's in. So he's in the hallway and he's like she might as well just have like a PowerPoint up like how we're gonna fuck Tom Sanders.
The movie doesn't have any like idea of how sound really works. Like that
No.
she could hear him.
They don't know how offices work and they don't know how people send messages to each other. Like video messages that are being recorded where Demi Moore is saying, Yeah, he's going to be fired any day now. So don't worry about that. Just keep doing the shit that I want you to do to whatever person she's. Oh, God.
Yeah, and they air out all their problems like anywhere. Like it's never like behind closed doors. It's like during like the most public moments. Like it's like, oh yeah, did you know that all of our drives are screwed up and we're gonna be like 12 months behind media? It's like, what are you doing?
And why is he always announcing promotions in this like American Idol like style way, like with a crowd, and there's like photographers and shit? I'm like, what are you doing? I've never worked at a company where that's a thing, where you're surprised when they make the announcement that you've been promoted.
I was once surprised that I was promoted because at my company they forgot to email me that I did get the promotion, and then on my first day, they were like, "Hey, are you coming to like sign the agreement letter or the offer letter?" And I was just like, "What are you talking about?" They're just like, "Oh, you got it." I'm just like, "Oh, when am I starting with it?" Like, because I had to transition from my old role, and they're just like, "You started it already." I was like, "What are you talking about?"
So then you put on your virtual reality headset and went in and signed it.
Okay,
I felt like
so
I was living in one. Yeah.
can we please talk about that virtual reality scene?
Where she's the lawnmower man deleting files.
It's so weird.
It's this super elaborate Dropbox. That's all it fucking is. But at the same time, it's brilliant because they are identifying a thing people are going to want to do in the future. But what's the actor's name again? Oh, shit. As the angel? Nicholas Sadler.
Yeah.
Don Cherry. He's just like, he's the angel. Like, it looks all scruffy and disgusting and grungy and whatever. And he's going to help them out. Like, it's like, remember that paperclip that used to show up in Word?
Yeah, it's Clippy.
Like,
He's Clippy.
Yeah, he was Clippy before there was a Clippy. But
yeah, the whole virtual reality thing is, I mean, I can't beat Adam's comment. It's like exactly what it is. And I just wrote in my notes the idea that you use virtual reality to read microfiche. I'm like, how modern. Like, how modern. Ooh. You don't have to go to the library for that. You could stand on a trampoline and put on gloves and a headset.
And he's like, whoa, like he's like constantly being sent off balance. And I have like a screwed up ankle. Like, no, thank you, ma'am. I don't need that shit. But he does that in the hotel room that Donald Sutherland is like in the lobby entertaining clients. And they do that whole trick where they're doing the thing and they get out just at the last minute before anybody can like,
yeah, of course.
But it's so funny to watch, like you said, the lawnmower man with Demi Moore's face on it, just going down the hallway and deleting like crazy. And that's all she had to do.
She's not just like logged in, but she's got like a face avatar of her like company profile. And it's just like, just so you know that she's coming for you. It's like, what is going on? I don't know. This movie's a lot of fun.
It's so great though. That's the thing. You think I'm making fun. I'm making fun of it, but I find it incredibly enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very good. I also thought it was like really funny that so whereas Dennis Miller and Don Cherry and then the woman that also works with them, like, were they a project team or did they work for him? Because if they worked for him, he's very like blasé about like all the problems he's having, which managers are usually not.
Right. He's not a good manager.
No.
No, he doesn't know what's going wrong. He doesn't know what's going wrong, and he totally lets his staff just like talk back to him and not like keep him updated.
Yeah.
This is, once again, a movie that doesn't know how jobs work.
And it's funny that we're talking so much about like the job stuff because the hook of this movie was about sexual harassment, and that's almost like it's like a bait and switch. This movie's not even really about that.
No.
Like the whole third act has nothing to do with it.
No, they're not dealing with it in any kind of serious way anyway. I mean, like Margo said, he had a recording. It's like, how convenient.
Right.
Like an actual recording of the sexual harassment happening. Well, now it's not he said, she said, because we have a recording. Like, that does not happen very often, I should say. Like, and then you think it's done because we're going to settle this sexual harassment thing, but then it turns out that they're just trying to create this fall guy for, like, a shitty product, I guess.
Yeah. I don't.
And they're doing this the week that the people that are going to buy them out are there in Seattle and hanging around their offices all the time. Like, they're up to all these shenanigans. And the people that are going to, like, help your stock go up in value and stuff, they're not, like, thinking twice. Like, who are these jackasses? I mean, Donald Sutherland is a terrible boss.
They should have done all this backstabbing weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there when people were taking over, and yeah, you don't do this kind of shit there. I mean, it just looks like a ragtag organization. What does Dennis Miller do? Would you ever hire Dennis Miller? He's such an asshole. Like, no.
Yeah. I don't know. There was one character that gets he's never seen, but he speaks at one point, and he's referenced throughout, like, the first 2 acts, and it's like Chekhov's Muhammad Jafar.
Yeah.
So,
what the fuck?
Like, okay, my first question is, like, so he's only there just to set up, like, a Deus Ex Machina, because then, like, he can get all the dirt on Demi Moore at the end. But is it coincidental or deliberate that his name is Jafar and he's trying to get tickets to Disneyland?
I wondered the same thing.
Same here.
But,
And then he says you get free rides when you're there. Aren't they all the rides available when you get there? I've never been to Disneyland, but even I know that. Like,
yeah. I don't know.
God, this movie's insane.
It doesn't understand offices or Disneyland.
No.
And, like, okay, why doesn't he he knows he has toothpaste on his tie. Why doesn't he just keep his jacket buttoned?
Or get a baby wipe. You can clean that shit up in 2 seconds. Or go to the bathroom and, like, put some water on it.
He doesn't even try to get it off. He's just like, I got it on my tie. It's like, dude.
But the tie he never wears.
That's white privilege. I can walk around.
A lot of white privilege going on in this movie.
Toothpaste on my tie. It doesn't matter. I'm still gonna get VP.
Yeah, and, like, why did they even have that detail in the movie, just to show that, like, oh, he's, like, careless? I don't get it.
I think they're trying to establish him as just this easygoing guy that's, like, super happy with his life. He's a good marriage. He has kids. He has his beautiful house. Blah, 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 blah. He could just go into a meeting with toothpaste on his tie, and it doesn't even bother him. And then all of a sudden, Meredith shows up. And it's a 32-year-old woman. Yeah, da, 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 da. And just, she doesn't, what did she say? She doesn't know something from Kashmir? Like, good God.
Yeah. She doesn't know a hard drive from Kashmir.
From Kashmir.
Yeah. No, it's a software from Kashmir.
Oh, yes, thank you.
I like, I want to see them recut the trailer, and then they're just like, Tom Sanders had it all until.
Because I kind of think, like, Tom doesn't deserve, I'm glad he doesn't get the promotion at the end, like, spoiler, but I kind of want him gone. Like, I feel like, did he learn his lesson?
Yeah, I think he was scared straight.
Susan can trust him now, his wife.
I think that he's going to be on his best behavior for a long time. That's just the impression that I got. I don't know why I just quoted Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, but that's the impression.
It's the 90s. We're stuck there.
Yeah. We're stuck there.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Why did you think that he's going to be sexually harassing people all over again?
Oh, he's definitely going to sleep around on that wife. Yeah. She's established herself as a doormat.
Yeah.
He's going to let a lot of shit slide. I mean, he can at least get blowjobs.
Well, the receptionist is clearly into it. Like, she slapped his ass with a folder. She's into it.
Yeah.
She's open to it now.
Yeah.
This was like a whole string of movies for Michael Douglas where, like, younger women are, like, throwing themselves at him.
He
had a good long stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because he had it started with Fatal Attraction.
Right.
And then
No, Romancing the Stone.
do you think that he was like pervy though in that?
No.
Oh, totally, he was.
I haven't seen it in a while.
It's been no. He's a total rogue, and then Kathleen Turner kind of turns him around. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Like I know every frame of Romancing the Stone. He's kind of a shithead, and then he turns around. But he's a very in the 70s. He also had it too. He was he was super good looking for a super long time in his life, and he's famous, and all that good stuff. So I think he had like a good string, a good run of movies where he was the romantic, like ideal, the sexual ideal for women.
Yeah,
Wall Street.
Yeah, he was a big sleazebag in that. I like. He's really unique for actors of really, I don't know. I mean, like of his time and then also afterwards, because he could very easily be like the sleazebag, but then your allegiance sort of is to side with him most of the time because
he's a likable sleazebag.
Yeah,
it's like a project where like you could change him, and then like you get the American president and you did change him, and you're like, see, I knew it.
A part of you's like, that his father is Kirk Douglas and that he's the total douchebag, and he had to overcome all that to be who he is. And so you kind of root for him. And I think there's a kind of thing about Michael Douglas in his persona that he kind of opens himself up as fallible. Like he's somebody that makes mistakes and moves on. And I think that's part of what makes him likable and why people like him.
What are some of your other favorite Douglas movies?
I love one with Kathleen Turner, where they're getting divorced.
The War of the Roses.
War of the Roses. That's one of my favorites of his.
Yeah.
I know everything in Wall Street. I know like every frame. Romancing the Stone, of course.
Romancing the Stone is one of my favorites too. For sure.
The one where they're him with Jane Fonda, and it's the nuclear. The third.
The China Syndrome.
The China Syndrome. Thank you. The China Syndrome. He's great in the Wonder Boys. I think he's really good in that. I like him as his Liberace. I thought he was very good in that HBO movie. I'm on his side. I don't hate Michael Douglas. I think he's very entertaining and smart and charming. And I think he does present himself as fallible. So you kind of forgive him when he does screw up.
What's some of your favorites, Adam?
You name most of them. The one that I had in mind was, I think Wall Street's the one I go back to the most because every time that's on TV, I have to stop and watch it.
Same here.
I really like Wonder Boys a lot. That movie. Yeah. And it's a different kind of performance for him too, because he's sort of like this like schlubby guy, not really like the slick kind of, a player that he usually is.
Yeah. I love that one too.
It's a good one. It's like one of those nice, like, warm campus movies.
Yeah.
I love The Jewel of the Nile, and no, I'm kidding. I don't.
I was gonna say nobody likes that one.
Shining Through.
Ooh,
that was my mom's favorite movie.
I think
my mother loved that movie.
Margo and I have chatted about that one before, where he's carrying Melanie Griffith across like a goal line that's supposed to represent the border between the Germanys.
And my mother, like every time she loved it. Oh my God, that In Scent of a Woman, she loves it, but especially like the last third when they're in the school and Al Pacino's screaming about flamethrowers and calling people assholes. My mother loved that shit. Loved it.
When you brought up Shining Through, it made me think of like in the early 90s, especially, there was so many movies like that the moment they were in a first run theater, you're like, oh, they'll be in the dollar theater in 2 weeks, where it's like, or like the Russia House.
The Russia House. That's such a good example of that.
Yeah, where it's just like 2 stars and a poster, something you could put in Premiere Magazine. That's all that it was.
2 stars and a poster. Copycat, that was like that. Copycat played at my theater, the one with Sigourney Weaver and Holly Hunter. That was.
So you said you were.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, So you were at the theater. You were working at the theater when Disclosure was out, right?
Yeah.
How did it do? Like, did people like it?
Oh yeah, they did. They totally did. It. There were people that came back and saw it again and again. Actually, I'm going to look up right now how much money it made, because I don't know how much money it made. But at my theater, let's see.
It definitely made the money back.
It did. $214 million. That's a lot.
lot back then. Yeah.
That's a lot for like an adult thriller, actually.
With no special effects.
There's that virtual reality stuff, Margo.
Angel.
Well, there's not.
Where can I find that
there's nothing.
file?
There's
Over
nothing.
there?
There's nothing special about it.
The angel thing always makes me crazy.
We totally have to talk more about A Friend.
Oh, yes, please. Oh boy.
Okay, so this kid Spencer is the son of Michael Douglas's work friend. I think it was Stephanie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she's the smartest one in the movie, for sure.
And Spencer is like a TA for Arthur Friend, who's an engineering professor at the college. And that's who they use as sort of this alias to feed Michael Douglas information so that he can make the strategic moves to set up Meredith and get out of trouble and everything like that. But the thing that I kept thinking the whole time is like, okay, this Arthur Friend guy is like gone on some kind of leave or doing something. Like when he comes back, he's going to be like, what the fuck is going on?
It's like, 1994.
It's like I'm this engineering professor and now I'm mixed up in like
espionage.
That kid's like worst TA ever.
Yeah. He's taking some liberties.
I'm getting a feeling that in 1994 you could really delete things and it would be gone forever.
Probably.
That's the only thing I could think of. But yeah, we have this like 19, 20-year-old kid who's feeding the information to save his mom, to get his mom, make sure his mom gets the job, because she's getting Michael Douglas out of trouble, but she still needs him because he knows, well, what does he know how to do? Anyway, but we need to get Stephanie to get the job.
Yeah. And
Donald Sutherland's daughter died sometime in the past.
Yeah.
And so a woman needs to be there.
Mm-hmm.
What? So would they have used this professor's email if his name wasn't Alfred Friend?
No.
No, right?
No.
If he was like Stephen Jones, then no.
No, that's Michael Crichton being cute.
It's really cute. But I love that they spell it out for us in case we didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they have all these like misdirects where it's like, are you a friend? It's like, I hope we're still friends. Say what?
What?
What? If you were Demi Moore's character in this movie, would you leave this Digicom off your resume?
How long is she there? Like a month?
I
maybe?
would not update my LinkedIn with that.
And she's like, oh, I've got 10 calls already. Sure, Jan. From recruiters.
Like,
yeah, sure, Jan.
It's like, I linked in different ways.
Michael Douglas's character goes on LinkedIn and endorses her for sexual harassment.
Shoulder rubs.
Shoulder rubs. Oral sex.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this movie. I'm so glad you loved it. I'm so glad you love it so much, Margo.
Yeah. I super love it. When it was on, it was like on TNT or whatever, like I would just start watching it. It's just one of those, it's a 90s movie. It just goes to like the pleasure center of my brain and just wants to hang out. And I don't want to do anything else when it comes on.
And these movies are like extinct now, which is so sad. It's just like this mid-budget drama for adults, and it's got no pretense of it needs to make $1 billion. It's just, here's two people that, look good and you like them from other things, and I don't know. That's the thing I miss so much, where it's just like you could take a star and it's just like, oh, Steven Seagal is Marine, and you're just like, one, please.
Netflix or Amazon or one of them will get there, but right now they're just not quite there. Like they make movies, but they're just kind of they're missing just a little bit of that sheen, because that's why like with The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, like we have Curtis Hanson in charge as the director. So yeah, it's a cheesy plot and everything, but it looks spectacular.
Yeah. And it was really tight. Like, it was like 90 minutes.
No filler. It's just all action. And like that's the problem with the Netflix stuff. Like they're just not making great movies. They're making okay movies. They're fine if you're just sitting on your couch hanging out at home, but I wish they were just a little bit better.
Yeah, I saw one last week that was pretty good. The Eddie Murphy one, the Dolomite.
Dolomite was amazing. I will say that. Yeah.
That was fun. I thought that, like, the thing that I've liked about Netflix since maybe it was a little bit before Roma, I started to notice it, maybe like with Ballad of Buster Scruggs, is they feel like real movies now, which for a while they didn't.
Yeah, well, if you watch Always Be My Maybe, you might change your mind.
Yeah, it's like it's a movie that's like 75% there.
Yeah, that movie had really great parts, but it was like
great parts, great people.
Yeah,
it just needed to be tightened up.
Yeah,
like they're just like putting content out on a schedule, and they're not really like it just could be so much better.
Yeah,
they're not batting 1,000. I wouldn't go to the theaters to see The Princess Switch 2. So
no,
sure you wouldn't.
Although this Christmas they've got The Night Before Christmas, but it's night with KNIGHT. That's the new Hudgens. She's the Christmas queen of Netflix now.
I see what they did there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to see that because I'll be out seeing Last Christmas in the theater.
I'm very excited for that.
I'm totally going to see that.
Me too.
I'm going to watch the shit out of that movie.
I'm not the biggest Paul Feig guy, but Amelia Clarke, like, her smile lights up my life. I don't know. She's just a gem. She's just so delightful. I watched that movie Me Before You, like, opening weekend in theaters by myself because I was just like, delight me.
But that's what you want from some people, and they deliver.
Yeah, she's got it. She has that it factor, for sure.
She has charisma.
Yep.
Do you guys want to hear about some of the other movies of 1984 or 1994? Not 84, 94.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. I didn't do top 10 movies because we had done that before, Margo, when we talked about Speed. Mm-hmm. So Wyatt Earp came out in 94. That's for Adam.
Super long.
That was okay.
Threesome.
Oh my God, we have to do Threesome one day.
It's on the list.
That's insane. Yeah.
I have that on, so there's this DVD label called Mill Creek, and like they licensed all the Columbia TriStar movies, and they know that they can't sell Threesome on its own, so it's part of like 25 movie comedies.
25?
They have an action one and they have a comedy one. And then like the comedy one, there's like some headliners like Hollywood Homicide. And I'm like, well, I'll buy that for $6. But then I get like Threesome and High School High and all this other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know you guys love this one too. The Santa Claus.
I love the Santa Claus.
Yeah, Santa Claus 2 is the good one.
Oh.
No. Oh, disagree. Hard disagree.
I don't know if you've heard this before, but I have like a real thing for Elizabeth Mitchell and Tim Allen's relationship in the Santa Claus 2. I think it's like one of the sexiest things I've ever seen in a movie. I don't know why.
I love Elizabeth Mitchell, by the way. I think she's amazing. So I get that. I think I've just seen the original so many times that it's ingrained in my brain.
Yeah. No, I have a lot of nostalgia for the first one.
Yeah.
I think we need to do a show on that.
We need to.
The Ref came
out.
Oh,
I love
94.
The Ref. I love The Ref.
It was definitely funny. It Could Happen to You.
I watched that on a bus once.
Is that the one where Nicolas Cage wins the lottery?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's a good one. Bridget Fonda once again.
And Rosie Perez.
Rosie Perez, and yeah.
I love.
Yeah, we watched that on the bus, on the charter bus to camp in 8th grade.
It's such a bus movie.
Yeah, totally.
The Crow.
Oh,
I love The Crow.
Yeah,
That was a good one. Clerks.
that's great.
I've seen a million times.
Yeah.
Bad Girls.
Haven't seen it.
I saw that in the theater.
I remember seeing that one in the theater too.
Yeah, I loved it.
So
I loved it at the time.
Yeah, I'm sure it's terrible, but I loved it at the time.
that's Madeline Stowe, Mary Stuart Masterson, and who am I forgetting?
Drew Barrymore.
Oh, okay.
I know Margo loves this one. The Client.
I love The Client.
Yeah, that's good.
Great movie.
We need to do that one too. And then last and maybe least, Cabin Boy.
No, I don't like Cabin Boy.
I tried. I can't get into it.
Cabin Boy played at my theater. It made no money. Like, it would be like a Friday night and one person comes in and then they would get a refund after like 20 minutes.
No.
No, thank you.
Nobody liked it. It was so sad. I think it only played for like 3 days. Unheard of.
Do you want to hear about some top songs from 94?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have Fantastic Voyage, Coolio. Great song.
Love it.
Very good.
Black Hole Sun, Soundgarden.
Love
Scary
that.
music video.
Loser, Beck.
Eh,
I love Beck.
Ooh, I love Beck.
sorry.
That's okay. Regulate, Warren G.
Yeah.
I love that song.
From Above the Rim.
Yep. Sabotage, Beastie Boys.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
One of the best songs ever.
Mm-hmm.
Closer, Nine Inch Nails.
Oh, I like that
good.
one too.
You Gotta Be from Desiree.
Oh my God, that song was in like every promotional commercial for like every morning show.
Oh, it was so basic. And then Adam, this is for you. Stone Temple Pilots, Interstate Love Song.
Well, you're after my heart now.
I love Stone Temple. I've seen STP many, many times. R.I.P. Scott Weiland. Many
go
times.
see STP cover bands.
No. No, I saw
have a problem.
STP.
I have a problem. Yeah.
I saw them as part of Live 105's BFD.
I saw them VH1 Storytellers. So it was just the band, and it was like 20 people in the audience. It was fucking amazing. They were amazing.
Yeah.
That was they were an awesome band.
They were very awesome.
Patrick is wrong, is what I'm saying.
Patrick is fucking wrong.
Patrick has moments of being wrong. That's one of. I don't know. It's funny though, because like I know Patrick real well, but when we talk, obviously we talk about movies most of the time. So like when we do get on a topic like music, I'm just like, what? Like,
I know.
We'll have such different opinions, but it's fun to mix it up with him about those things.
Yeah, no, totally. No, we're talking about Patrick from F This Movie, by the way. One of our favorite podcasts.
This was super fun talking about disclosure.
Yeah.
Adam,
I loved it.
Can you tell people where they can find you on the internet?
I can't. Real quick, though, there's a song called Disclosure by Latch, I think. Or no, the song's called Latch, and the artist is Disclosure, and that's a banger, too. So everything related to disclosure is just kind of...
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a disclosure playlist.
And then my remake idea was to have Vin Diesel play the Michael Douglas part and Michelle Rodriguez as the Demi Moore part and call it Closure.
I would totally watch that.
I would watch the shit out of that.
And then he's like, no. And she's like, ride or die.
Motherfucker, you can't say no.
Yeah.
I want a
She's
remake
like,
with
"No."
Donald Sutherland harassing Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
I'm into it. I want all of it. Love these movies. I'm on I'm on Twitter at Risky Adam, and I write and do podcasts at fthismovie.com. The letter F, thismovie.com.
And where can people find you, Margo?
On social media, you can find me at Brooklyn Fit Chick. That's for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm mostly active on Twitter and Instagram, and my blog is brooklynfitchick.com.
And you can find us at our other podcast, What a Creep.
Yeah.
It's so fun talking about creeps, like we do. And you could find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Twitter, and not really on Facebook anymore. It's kind of nice. And you can find Dorking Out at dorkingout.com and Dorking Out Show on Twitter. This was so fun, you guys.
Yeah. Oh, I got another 94 thing happening right in front of my eyes because I've had my Roku on, but it's like the screensaver.
Yeah.
And in the background, there's like City Hall and power plants, but then there's like a marquee for the Roku channel, and you can watch Little Giants for free, and that's from 94.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I have the same thing on in my apartment. I'm not even kidding you right now.
Wow.
The
Oh my
TV's
God.
the TV's listening to us. You guys are so awesome. I would sexually harass both of you.
Thank you.